Hi everyone, I'm Kevin Freeman. I'm subbing for Eric Stark. We're here to talk about Lancaster-Lebanon League football. And I've got a treat today. Got two guys from New Jersey talking LL football. Now the sound you hear is people clicking off the video, but stay with us. We're sure to give you a good little show here. First, Ed, I want to talk about Ed Groover, by the way, from our colleague here, covers LL football. Let's talk about Donegal Garden Spot last week. I think that victory by Donegal surprised a lot of people. Played very well, particularly their running game.
Yeah, I covered that game, and they had Chris Trimby back for the first time on offense since week 1 when he suffered an injury against Elizabethtown. And he had a big game. You know, ran well behind the offensive line, led the game in rushing and carries, scored a touchdown, and together with Jared Smith and Connor Maxwell, you know, really gave some punch to the Donegal ground game.
I think, you know, he was a guy that was forecast, Trimby was, as being a really good player in Section 3, and he's just turning out to be that way. I think he's going to have a great season. Yeah,
he was an all-star last year, and the thing about him is not only his athletic talent, but as Coach Jeff Politis told me, the intangibles he brings to the team, leadership, you know, he said everything is crisper in the huddles. You know, the team just gets an emotional lift from his presence.
Okay. Another big story from last week, I think, is Cocalico, and they're just steamrolling people. As you mentioned, the 4th straight Mercy Rule victory. You know, can they be stopped, that kind of thing?
Yeah, 4 straight Mercy Rules. I don't recall seeing it, you know, in recent years. It might be some kind of a record, if not for the league, maybe for the team, for Cocalico's football program. But yeah, they're doing it. They're doing it on the ground. You know, Janice, Spencer Moser, you know, very good offensive line, and really just haven't been challenged yet.
Let's look ahead a little bit. This coming weekend's football games, Friday night, Penn Manor at Lancaster Catholic. Now that's a pretty interesting game. Penn Manor just defeated a pretty good Hempfield team last week, and Lancaster Catholic had to go into overtime, but defeated Manheim Township and scored a lot of points doing so. So maybe Catholic High, they had a rough start, but maybe they're back a little bit and have to play Penn Manor. That seems like a pretty good game.
Yeah, and Catholic now seems to be settled at quarterback. Evan Purvis, who started last year at quarterback, was then moved to wide receiver this year, is back at quarterback. You know, led them to that victory, kicked the field goal, I believe, to win the game in overtime at Manheim Township. And I think he brings a settling presence to the quarterback position that Catholic probably didn't have the first couple of weeks.
Okay. Then we move on to Section 2, and we have a Lebanon team. Now, Lebanon's a team, they've averaged 40 points a game this year. That's a lot for a Lebanon team. Their opponents haven't been that difficult, but here they have to go into Manheim Central. And as you mentioned, quarterback Mark Piles is doing a great job at quarterback. That should be an interesting matchup between him and Central.
Yeah, because if Central has an Achilles heel, at least in the past year or so, it's been their pass defense. So how they match up with Piles, who was putting up tremendous numbers. I mean, 18 touchdowns passes in the first 4 games, over 1,200 yards passing. I mean, you know, even if you're playing Little Sisters of the Poor, I mean, those are still impressive numbers.
They are.
And, you know, how he matches up with Central and vice versa, how Central's defense matches up with him will be interesting.
I think a part of that game will be what happens in the trenches. You know, can Lebanon's offensive line give Piles enough time to throw? That, I think, is going to be the telltale sign of that game. If we go to Section 3, there's another game there. A team kind of like Lebanon that put up a lot of points is Elko. I think they're 1-3, but they've scored 35 points a game in those games, and they have to go to Garden Spot. Or actually, I think I don't remember. Are they going to Garden Spot?
They are at Garden Spot.
They are at Garden Spot. Now, Garden Spot coming off the loss, which maybe shocked them a little bit, makes kind of an interesting battle there in Section 3.
It does. You can be sure that Garden Spot, you know, wants to rebound from their showing at Donegal last week where they lost 28-7 and just didn't seem to be into the game. You know what I mean? They didn't seem to be able to match Donegal's intensity from the get-go. But, you know, they'll be ready for an Elko team. And again, Elko is kind of like Lebanon. High-scoring team, you know, a lot of playmakers. Derek Miller, Cameron Strauss, some of the others. They'll give Garden Spot's defense a pretty good test.
Okay. Well, check out Ed's preview on Friday morning's paper, and also LancasterOnline.com, and get the result of all the games in Saturday's paper, and also LancasterOnline.com.